Hi everyone, this is my first video, so let me kind of explain how this is going to work for you. I am going to go through things very rapidly so that you can stop, pause, go back over things, do whatever it is that you need to do for learning or just kind of as a quick refresher. And so it is assumed that either you missed the lesson or you've already done it in class, but you just wanted a refresher on it. So again, I'm going to go through this very quickly. And again, if you have questions on it, you can text me. You can do whatever. There is no requirement that you watch these. They're really just for your benefit. If the online learning is as challenging for you as a learner as it is for a teacher, then hopefully these will be a little bit of help. Okay, so I'm going to start with reading and writing in math. Now, in class, you discussed with your group in what ways is reading and writing in math different from reading and writing in other subjects. Some of the ideas that you came up with were talking about finding keywords, which is really important. Keywords are going to be very beneficial to you. Identifying the variables. If you're reading it and it's a question, what do they want to know, or what is unknown in the problem? Methodology. How are you going to take this information and either come up with a method to solve or do something else? And context. There are many others, and I'm sure you can think of many more. These are just some that came to mind. When you're reading, and you want to look at different purposes. You want to look for big ideas and details. Big ideas and details. You can't just stick on one. And one of the things that you want to look at on this is, as you're looking at the details, does it change the big idea? What difference does it make? Now, when we're reading, if you want to pause and read this, or you already have, then I want us to look at this. What are the big picture items? What are the things that are identical in both of these? Well, the first sentence is identical in both. Both want self-motivated and it is a high-paying job. The other thing that is the same in both of them is that they are seeking serious candidates. I don't know if any of you have just applied for jobs just to apply for jobs and see what happens. I know in my lifetime I have. Okay. There are three main differences, and interestingly enough, there are three other sentences, so those are where those differences are going to come into play. So I'm going to split this into two sections, into job A and job B. And I'm just going to look at this sentence by sentence. Must agree to work 24-hour shifts versus 24-hour shifts. Just that little hyphen in there makes all the difference in the world. Job A, the shifts are 24 hours. Whoops, I forgot how to spell hours. Job B, is 20 different 4-hour shifts. Now that's a huge difference. If working a straight 24 hours, what a pain. But if you're working 24-hour shifts, that means you're working 80 hours a week. So that neither one of these look terribly promising to me. The next one is work weekends or holidays. This is weekends and holidays. So job A is work weekends or holidays. And this one is work weekends and holidays. And then finally, the last difference here is must be able to lift 80 pounds, at least 80 pounds. Okay. So job A wants you to lift 80 pounds. This is at least 80 pounds, which means 80 pounds or more. Okay, let's flip over to the next page. Again, there was a lot of good discussion about this problem. I heard a lot of really interesting things as I was flipping in and out of your groups. And if you look at this, there are a lot of differences in here, a lot of little things, but did it change the big picture idea? I don't think there was. It was a survey or a sampling of people studying marriages, and they wanted to know if the horoscope made any difference in their marriage. Okay. And that's really the big idea in both of them. So I don't know that there were any changes. Okay. The big picture idea, and I just kind of explained that. And the big picture idea was to determine the compatibility of zodiac signs. In marriage. The conclusion was that the zodiac sign made no difference. All right, now it says to reread the paragraph again, and we're going to circle all of the differences, the detail, the difference in the second paragraph. And again, you found all these when we were doing the discussion in class. The change from Michigan to Minnesota. Same guy, maybe he works for both. The effect versus effects. On marriages, on several marriages. Several can mean, compatibility on marriage versus several marriages. Those can mean exactly the same thing. Astrologers, astrologist. On the or about the compatibility. And were not versus weren't. Again, any of these, they don't make any difference except they don't know where the guy is working or went to school. Okay. All right, and two of the details that you think are important, one of the things that I talked about was, where he worked. And, You can just, whatever was important to you on that. Okay, what does it mean to search for the big idea, the big picture idea? You could focus on purpose. What are they looking at? You can look at the complete idea. These are a couple of things that came up in class. Read for detail. You want to look at context. You want to read for meaning. Syntax. And again, detail. And these are, again, all things that came out in class, so there's any number of things. Okay, now this is going to be really important as you work with your calculator, and all of them are going to be different. I'm going to show you what it looks like on mine if I can. Oh, here it is. The difference between these. Now, I have a graphing calculator. This is a TI-84, and you don't need to buy one. The joy of having this is that when you turn it on, you can see what you did. But they're a lot of money, and especially if this is your last math class, you don't need one. Here, you'll notice that there's a subtraction, and here it looks like the same thing. Okay. Notice the change in the color, and you'll have something similar to this on your calculator. I just don't know what it will be. This is an operator. This means minus. This means the opposite. It doesn't necessarily mean negative. It means the opposite. So if you have the opposite of 6, then that equals -6. Okay. If on my calculator, if I try to do -6, it won't do it. Okay. It will force it to come up with something else. So, you know, there are some keys in the calculator. Okay, so you can either have on here, you can have the minus sign, or you can have the opposite key. So this means subtraction. It's an operation. And this means the opposite. Now, I hesitate to say negative because you can take the opposite of a negative number and make it positive. Okay, so if I'm taking 444 divided by the -6, the correct key in here would be this one. You can't have two operators next to each other. So this would be the error. 9 minus 3, the correct key is the subtraction, the operator. And the key that you're going to use for subtraction and for negative or opposite is this one. Okay, again, I went through all this really quickly, so hopefully you will take the time to read this, and let's see, we'll go on to 1.5.